at the airport, but also jobs relating to the export of horticultural products. Under this Adani deal, it is the Adani Group who will determine what happens at the airport. It means our many farmers, horticultural farmers, and those employed along that chain will be subjected to higher prices, because the Adani Group have not come as charity workers. They are coming to make money. It means the future of so many has been put in jeopardy. And that is why we call this economic sabotage. The same Adani Group is being given concession over power distribution. Again, this is economic sabotage. We are already suffering very high prices of power. We are subjected to that by KPLC. Now with the Adani Group, we cannot hope that things will be better. They can only be worse. You wonder why a regime would sabotage its own economy. And the only conclusion we can come to is that Adani is a front for cartels, high-placed cartels within the Ruto regime. We have also seen economic sabotage through the deliberate mismanagement of our mineral and marine wealth. Our mineral resources in Kwale, in Taita Taveta, in Busia, in Migori, in Kitui, and many other parts of the Republic, concessions are being given with total opaqueness to foreigners and with deliberate harm being occasioned to the host communities where these minerals are. This cannot be happening unless Adani is but a mere front of cartels within the Ruto regime. And I want to remind us that during the campaigns, Ruto and his supporters were telling people that they are coming to dismantle cartels. It appears they were talking of themselves coming in to remove, if at all there were cartels, and to perfect the art of capturing the state and putting it in the hands of cartels. We've also seen the dismantling of a working health system. You will remember that when the Ruto regime came in, NHIF was a going concern and was working for many Kenyans. I can testify that I know of many poor people who were not only assisted to get quality health services by NHIF, but some were assisted to travel to India for treatment. In the 2 years of the existence of the Ruto regime, NHIF had been run to the ground. Hospitals were no longer accepting NHIF cards, and now since Tuesday come in SHIF. We have not forgotten seeing the tears of an old man who had been denied dialysis. But this is just one person. How many others were crying out there, not under the glare of the media, without us knowing? We all know that those who require dialysis, if they don't get it on time, it can lead to a timely death. We do not know how many people and in what manner they have been affected by this clumsy transition from NHIF to SHIF. We also were told that SHIF was coming to expand the health services. We know that is a lie. We have seen indication that SHIF will actually restrict access to health for many. It is raiding the pockets of Kenyans, whereas under NHIF, every Kenyan was required to pay 500 shillings a month. SHIF is requiring employed Kenyans to forego 2.75, literally 3% of their salaries. These are already overtaxed Kenyans, and while their pockets are being raided, the services given by SHIF are wanting. There is information that for dental services, families will only access approximately 2,000. There is information that for maternity, mothers will only get payment of up to 10,000. Under Linda Mama, in public hospitals, women were accessing maternity services without paying. How many will be forced to deliver away from hospitals? This is a violation of the Constitution, in particular Article 43, which provides that the government of the day will ensure that Kenyans have access to quality health services. We should be transitioning, destroy Kenyans' food sovereignty. You are aware of several agricultural bills that have come up that are criminalizing agricultural activities by Kenyans. It is like the Ruto regime is determined to wipe away completely indigenous farming and instead put it in the hands of conglomerates. We know they began by bringing in GMOs. When the issue of agriculture is in the hands of conglomerates, poor people will not access seeds, which will be out of their range. And if agricultural activities are criminalized, it means we all have to depend on buying food from the shops. How many can afford? Instead of helping Kenya to be food secure, we are destroying any chance of Kenyans ever being the masters of their own destiny when it comes to food security. Amidst all these chaos and the chaotic rollout of SHIF, we have not had the elected leaders from the presidency to parliamentarians highlighting the suffering of Kenyans. Instead, they are all glued to the power games of impeachment. Kenyans are not diverted. The Kenyans' attention is not diverted to the issues of the day, and that's why participants in Elgeyo Marakwet were asking whether the impeachment of Gachagua will build the stadiums that were promised, whether it will bring the building of the roads that they have been promised and have not so far been built. In other words, Kenyans want their issues attended to, not sideshows. And the message to the Ruto regime is clear: shape up or ship out. Governments are elected and leaders are elected to prioritize the needs of the people. But it appears that Ruto and his regime and the entire parliament are oblivious of the needs of the people. Only very few of the parliamentarians are focused on the issues of the people. We are calling upon Kenyans to continue raising their voices. This regime needs not only to be reminded of its duty, but it needs to be forced out if it cannot attend to the people's needs. We are calling on Ruto and his cronies to heed the call for justice that take us throughout the valleys and hills of Kenya, and to know that Kenyans have not forgotten that they are being denied their rights, that there is economic sabotage, and that life is being made unbearable. And that is why in one voice Kenyans have said, in order to preserve the very soul of our nation, both Ruto and his deputy Gachagua and the entire government ought to do the honorable thing, exit the stage and pave way
And Garnacho! That is off the very high. Formidable Manchester City!